Good afternoon, class. Today's lesson, we're going to talk about the carbon cycle. Has anyone heard of that term before?
Every living thing has carbon, and when we die off, the carbon is released in the form of carbon dioxide.
Okay, very good. We have talked a lot about carbon and carbon dioxide in our previous lessons, and today we're going to key in and focus on the carbon cycle. Before we go to the carbon cycle, however, we would like to talk about the atmosphere. Now, in our previous lessons, we all discussed that there are different spheres that the Earth is divided into. One of the first spheres that we have is the lithosphere. We have the hydrosphere, the biosphere, and the atmosphere. Let's key in on the atmosphere. What are the different layers of the atmosphere? The stratosphere, excellent. Rosalina? The thermosphere. Yeah. The exosphere. Irma? The troposphere. So we have various layers of the Earth's atmosphere. And as you rightly said, it is the troposphere, the stratosphere, the mesosphere, the thermosphere, and the exosphere. Now I have a little activity that is going to test how good your memory is in reference to the atmosphere. This activity suggests that you unscramble some words that are there, and these words are going to explain to us the gases that are in the atmosphere. Now I want you to work in pairs. I'm going to pass around the activity, and I want you to unscramble the letters that are there to create words that suggest the various gases that are in our atmosphere. Kindly take one each, and you're going to work in pairs. You can begin as soon as you get your paper. Kindly put down your pens and pencils. And let's see how accurately we did on this little quiz. The first gas says that it takes up 78.084% of the atmosphere. And which gas is that? Erwin.
Nitrogen.
Nitrogen, can you spell it, please? T-R-O. Excellent. Did everybody get that one? Wonderful. What about the gas that takes up almost 21% of the Earth's atmosphere? Yes? Oxygen. Excellent. Kindly make corrections if you have any incorrect spelling. The gas that takes up almost 1%. Yes, Erwin? Edwin, sorry.
Argon.
Argon, how do we spell argon?
A-R-G-O-N.
A-R-G-O-N. What about the gas that takes up 0.34%? Yes, Rosalina? Excellent. Can you spell it for us?
C-A-R-B-O-N.
Wonderful. The gas that takes up 0.00182%. 0.00182%. Yes.
Neon.
Neon, can you spell it for us?
N-E-O-N.
N-E-O-N. Excellent. Let's move on. the gas that takes up 0.000524 percentage, 0.000524 percentage. Yes?
Helium.
Helium. Wonderful. Let's move right on to the gas that takes up 0.00015 percentage. Yes, Daisy?
Methane, METHANE.
METHANE. Excellent. And what about the gas that takes up 0.00114 percentages? Yes, Kyle?
Krypton.
Can you spell krypton? Excellent. And we move on. What's the other gas? Erwin. Hydrogen. Can you continue to spell it for me, please? And the final gas?
Ozone.
Yes, can you spell ozone?
OZONE.
O-Z-O-N-E. Okay. Give yourselves a little finger clap. More than one finger clap. Thank you very much. Now, I hope that you made the corrections. How many people got all correct? Wonderful. How many people got one or two wrong? Couldn't guess the answer? All right. Thank you for being honest. So let's try to remember these gases that make up the atmosphere, because as we move on and as we continue to talk about climate change, as we continue to talk about the warming climate and sea level rise, we're going to discuss more of these gases and how they affect us. As you noticed, we mentioned carbon dioxide. Earlier I said that the focus of our lesson was going to be about the carbon cycle. Now I have another activity that I'd like you to do in pairs. You're going to work with your same pairs. And this activity will test your ability to match definitions with terms. So we're going to see if you were listening in your previous lessons, because you're going to define what carbon dioxide is. You're going to define the term diffusion that was mentioned in your previous lesson. You're going to define the term fossil fuels and so forth. So I want you to work quickly with your partner to match these definitions and terms. Take one and pass it down. Notice there is a blank column, and in that blank column you're going to write the number of the term that matches the definition. Put down your pens and pencils, and I'm going to ask volunteers to share their responses. All pencils and pens down. Thank you. Now the first definition says things that release carbon. It is a carbon source. Kindly make the necessary correction. Blank is the process by which organic substances are broken down into simpler forms of matter. The process is essential for recycling the finite matter that occupies physical space in the biome. Bodies of living organisms begin to decompose shortly after death. This one is a giveaway, isn't it? Yes, Rosalina?
Number 4, decomposition.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Rosalina. So the process by which organisms and substances break down into simpler forms of matter is called decomposition. The third definition states, is any member of a large class of gaseous, liquid, or solid compounds whose molecules contain carbon. Who would like to share? Yes, Edwin.
I believe it's fossil fuels, number 6.
You believe it's fossil fuels, number 6. How many people agree with Edwin? Is there anybody that disagree or would like to give another try?
Put organic.
Excellent. The answer for that definition is organic. Respiration is the process through which energy stored in organic molecules is released to do metabolic work. A stepwise process conducted in all living cells. It is controlled by enzymes and releases carbon dioxide and water. This one was a giveaway. Yes, Adita. It is number 3, which is?
Number 3, respiration.
Respiration. Excellent. A general term for a fuel that is formed in the earth from plant or animal remains, including coal, oil, natural gas, oil shales, and tar sands. Yes, Evelyn, can you please share the answer?
Number 6, fossil fuels.
Number 6, fossil fuels. Excellent. The next definition states that it is a process used by plants and other organisms to capture the sun's energy to split off water's hydrogen from oxygen. Yes, Release, what is the answer for that one?
Number 7, photosynthesis.
Wonderful answer. It is number 7, photosynthesis. Moving on, the biochemical cycle by which carbon is exchanged between the biosphere, geosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere of the Earth. Who would like to share that? Anna?
Number 10, carbon cycle.
Yes, that answer is accurate. Number 10, carbon cycle. Common gas found in the atmosphere has the ability to selectively absorb radiation in the long wave band. This absorption causes the greenhouse effect. The concentration of this gas has been steadily increasing in the atmosphere over the last 3 centuries due to the burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and land use change. And this definition is appropriate with which term? Marcelina, what is your response?
Carbon dioxide, number 1.
Number 1, carbon dioxide. Class, we spoke about carbon dioxide. We spoke about the various gases that are in the atmosphere. And we spoke about carbon. We are now going to talk in detail about the carbon cycle. And we're going to do this through the form of a PowerPoint. So kindly give me your attention up front as we learn what the carbon cycle is. Carbon dioxide is the 4th most abundant element in the universe. Carbon is the building block of all living things. It is the main pathway in and out of living matter. So it is very essential to life. Carbon cycle is the circulation of carbon through ecosystems. So through the various life forms that are present on Earth, whether it's through a rainforest, whether it's through a coral reefs, it's very important. And the carbon cycle is how carbon circulates through these ecosystems. Carbon is a non-metallic element found in coal, petroleum, and natural gas. It is a major component of life. So can we live without carbon? No. Soil respiration. Carbohydrates are oxidized and returned to the air by soil microorganisms that decompose dead animals. The atmosphere is the layer of gases. Fossil fuels are carbon-rich fuel from ancient animals and plants. And decomposition, as we learned previously, is the breakdown of matter by bacteria and fungi. All living things contain carbon. Excellent. Carbon is found in all living organisms. Plants use carbon dioxide and water to form simple sugars, and this process is called photosynthesis. Carbon is needed for life. Now, in almost each slide, we are emphasizing how important it is to life. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. It is necessary for life, but carbon dioxide can also be harmful to life. It is absorbed by producers to make carbohydrates in photosynthesis. And I'd like you to remember that term, producers. Animal feeds on plant, passing the carbon compounds along the food chain. Most of the carbon they consume is exhaled as carbon dioxide. So the animals that feed on the plant, they consume the carbon and they exhale it as carbon dioxide. This is called respiration. The animals and plants eventually die. And what is the process when these animals and plants die? What do we call that process? Yes, Elston?
Decomposition.
Decomposition. Excellent. The dead organisms are eaten by decomposers, and the carbon in their bodies is returned to the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. The plant and animal material may then be available as fossil fuel in the future for combustion. Carbon enters the atmosphere as carbon dioxide from respiration and combustion. Now, to make all that I said a little bit more visual, we have this diagram in front of us that explains what happens in the carbon cycle. First, we notice that photosynthesis occurs. We have our producers, our consumers, and our decomposers that break down the carbon. It goes into the soil, and after it goes into the soil, it comes out back as carbon dioxide. From what I said, we have the first process that occurs that is called photosynthesis. So we have producers, and then we have the consumers, we have the decomposers. Does anybody know what we mean by the term producer? Yes, Erwin. What is a producer? Plants. Is a producer?
Producers are animals that make their own food.
Producers are animals that makes their own food. Excellent. So would we call the plant producers or consumers? We would call the plant producers or consumers? Producers. What happens next? What happens during the decomposition process?
In the decomposition process, the consumers, which are in this case would be the animals which eat the plant. The animals will die and decay and in the process of decomposition, and then the carbon dioxide that they were storing are released on other gases.
Okay, so eventually the plant or the animal dies, right? So we have explained the term decomposers. Now, if you are telling me that plants are producers, what then are consumers? Yadira?
Carnivores. Herbivores or carnivores.
Herbivores are?
Carnivores.
Carnivores, okay, excellent. I do believe, though, that we need to think about it a little more. Think about when photosynthesis occurs and then we have carbon released into the atmosphere. If plants, what did we say was the definition of photosynthesis? Go back to your papers. What is the definition of photosynthesis?
Photosynthesis is a process used by plants and other organisms to capture the sun's energy to split off water's hydrogen from oxygen.
So what then does plants do? What is the role of plants in the photosynthesis process?
They provide food to the consumers, but they also make their own food.
They provide food to the consumers. They also make their own foods. Excellent. And then what happens next? They eventually die. And that is where our decomposition process takes place. So how then does carbon get into the soil?
The soil will eventually start creating levels which, or layers which store the dead plant, which continues to decompose underground. Eventually it will turn into fossil fuels after some long years.
Okay. So the decomposition process is a rotting process, isn't it? And it usually takes place in the layers of soil. And after it goes into soil, the carbon is then released as carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. And that process is called combustion. Are there any questions about the carbon cycle? Let's quickly review. The carbon dioxide is absorbed by producers to make carbohydrates in photosynthesis. Animals feed on plants, passing the carbon compounds along the food chain. Most of the carbon they consume is exhaled as carbon dioxide formed during respiration. The animals and plant will eventually die. The dead organisms are eaten by decomposers, and this is where the decomposition process starts to take place. The plant and animal material may then be available as fossil fuel for future combustion. Carbon enters the atmosphere after that process as carbon dioxide, and the cycle continues again and again. So from the beginning of time, this carbon cycle has been taking place. Now I have an important question to ask you. In talking about climate change, in talking about global warming, in talking about the warming climate, we're starting to worry about our carbon sources and our carbon sinks. What did we say was a carbon sink? Yes, Kyle?
Things that stores carbon.
Things that stores carbon. What is a carbon source? Yes, Yadira?
Things that give off carbon.
Things that give off or release carbon. Let's look at some examples of some of these things. We have carbon sinks and we have carbon sources. Carbon sinks. Sinks are things that store carbon. So for carbon sinks, we have the atmosphere that stores carbon. We have plant biomass. We have soil, rock. We have fossil. We have surface ocean. We have deep ocean. We also have reactive sediments, and we have wood products. So these are things that store carbon in our atmosphere and in our world. The things that give off carbon, that are the sources of carbon then, are decomposition. Remember we spoke about that in the carbon cycle. Respiration, the burning of fossil fuels, wildland fires, and ocean exchange. So we now know what are carbon sinks and we know what are carbon sources. Tell me then, what would happen if the sources, which are decomposition, respiration, burning fossil fuels, wildland fires, ocean exchange, what would happen if they produce more carbon than our Earth can store? Yes, Adita?
We will all die.
We would all die. Okay, that's terminal. Why would we all die? Yes, Elston?
Well, because of there will be an imbalance in the Earth's ecosystem.
Imbalance in the Earth's ecosystem. Very good. If we have more carbon sources, they produce what? What do these carbon sources produce? Yes, Edwin?
Carbon dioxide.
So we would
to be
have more
released.
carbon dioxide released in our atmosphere. What happens when there's an imbalance, when more carbon dioxide is released in the atmosphere? What happens to our temperatures?
When there's too much carbon dioxide, eventually the ozone layer will be having a big hole, and more UV rays will be entering, and the temperature will be higher.
The temperature will increase. And if the temperature increases, that means what is taking place? Daisy? Global warming. Excellent. So if we have a lot of these things taking place, which is decomposition, respiration, wildland fires, some can be deforestation, all of those things produce more carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. If there is more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, it means that the world's temperature will start to increase. And as the world's temperature starts to increase, we go into what we call global warming. And eventually, we can all eventually, as what Adita said, we can die. What is the reverse of that though? What is the reverse of that? Yes, Edwin?
Cooling.
Global
Cooling.
cooling. What do you mean by global cooling? That sounds like a new term. What is global cooling? Erwin, would you like to share?
It's just like when the earth is getting hot, but it's the opposite. The earth is getting cold, then you might go into another ice age.
The earth may get cold. Excellent. But how would the earth get cold? What would cause it? If global warming is caused by having too much carbon sources, what would cause global cooling? We would have too much carbon sinks, that we would not be producing enough carbon dioxide, and there would be a lot of storage area. Does everyone understand what we mean by carbon sinks and sources? Who would like to explain in a nutshell why global warming occurs?
It's when too much carbon dioxide is being produced and there's not much storage for it, and it will cause the earth to get hotter.
And it would cause the earth to get hotter or the temperatures to increase. And all of this class would be caused by an imbalance in the carbon cycle. And that is why the carbon cycle is very important. And it's very important that it keeps its balance. Because once we have too much carbon being released, the Earth's temperature will start to get warmer. And if we don't have enough being released, the Earth's temperature will start to get cooler. Now that was a mouthful to swallow, wasn't it? But to see if you all were listening, I would like you to take out your activity booklets. Have a pen and a pencil ready. And you're going to turn to page 32. You're going to complete a little quiz to see how much you learned about carbon cycle, about carbon dioxide, about decomposition, respiration, and so forth. Kindly complete that 10-item quiz individually. going to wrap up our lessons by sharing the responses. Let's look at our responses. The carbon cycle begins with photosynthesis in plants. The carbon cycle begins with photosynthesis in plants. Is that true or false? The response is true. So it does begin with photosynthesis. Plants are primary consumers of carbon dioxide. Plants are primary consumers of carbon dioxide. True or false? The response is true. Animals are primary consumers of carbon dioxide. Animals are primary consumers of carbon dioxide. How many people agree that it is false? Okay, put down your hands. How many people say it is true? Why would we say that animals are not primary consumers of carbon dioxide? Yes, Yadira.
Plants use it before the animals.
Plants are the consumers and animals and humans are producers of carbon dioxide. Remember that they would eventually rot also, and then it goes into the soil and it comes back out as carbon dioxide. Humans are producers of carbon dioxide. Humans, by a show of hands, how many people say true? Very good. Humans are producers. Carbon dioxide is easily dissolved in water. Carbon dioxide is easily dissolved in water. True or false? Why would that be false?
Carbon dioxide is a gas, so most likely it will float. It will come out of the water and go back into the air.
It will come up in the water and go back into the air. Anyone else has an answer to share? Think about the water cycle and evaporation and all of that. The answer is true, class. Humans and animals release carbon dioxide into the air during photosynthesis. Humans and animals release carbon dioxide into the air during photosynthesis. Is the answer true or false? Why is it false, Erwin?
Humans do not do the photosynthesis.
Humans and animals do not take part in photosynthesis. Who takes part in photosynthesis? It is plants. All of the carbon in existence is continually recycled in the carbon cycle. All of the carbon in existence is continually recycled in the carbon cycle. How many people say that is true by a show of hands? The answer is true. Where does the carbon come from that the plants use? Where does the carbon come from that the plants use?
Sea air.
It comes from the air. Remember, it was just released into the air through the combustion process. Are humans primary consumers of carbon dioxide or secondary consumers? Yes? Anna?
Neither. Humans produce carbon dioxide.
Very good answer. Humans produce carbon dioxide. Who consumes carbon? The plants. How does carbon get into the soil? How does carbon get into the soil? Yes, Evelyn, kindly share.
All of the above.
All of the above? Why would you say that?
I
I would say that because when plants, animals, and human die, the carbon will go into the soil and then it will go back.
Okay, it goes into the soil, but what's the process that we call where it gets from humans, animals, and plants into the soil?
Decomposition.
Decomposition. Excellent answer. Give her a hand. Now give yourselves a bigger hand for completing the quiz. It seems that some of you have really understood the carbon cycle, but I have an assignment. We had a question that said, number 5, which stated carbon dioxide is easily dissolved in water. Carbon dioxide is easily dissolved in water. And many of you thought that the response for that was false. And I need you to go and investigate why carbon dioxide is easily dissolved in water. The answer was true. And I need you, as a group, individually, you can also team up with someone as a pair or get into groups of threes, not now, as an assignment. And next week, you are going to tell me why carbon dioxide is easily dissolved in water. Yes, you can write your names. Kindly record the statement, carbon dioxide is easily dissolved in water. This exit slip contains 2 parts. The first part is, what gas do humans and animals exhale? What gas does humans and animals exhale? What gas, write the answer. What gas does humans and animals exhale? And the second part is for you to write the formula for that gas. If I tell you that an element is water, the formula would be written as H2O. So, I asked you, what gas does humans and animals exhale? You've written that gas, and now I want you to write the formula for that gas. And I need 4 volunteers to present their exit slips so we can have the rest of the class leave. We will have Alexander. Kindly stand, Alexander. Daisy. What about you, Ashley? Ashley is going to share, and we're going to have Yemi. So we will have Alexander sharing his response.
Humans and animals exhale carbon dioxide. The formula is CO2.
Formula is CO2. Ashley?
Carbon dioxide, CO2.
Carbon, what does that mean? Humans and animals.
Humans and the air human and animal breathing is carbon dioxide.
Exhale.
Exhale, and the formula is CO2.
Is CO2. Excellent. Daisy?
Humans and animals exhale carbon dioxide, and the formula is CO2.
And last but not least, Yemi, so that this class can exit the building.
Human and animals exhale carbon dioxide, formula CO2.
Excellent. Give each other a round of applause. And that was our exit slip. Thank you very much. Kindly remember to bring your assignment when I see you next week.